Hi, nobodies. So, this is the fourth time I'm trying to record my thing today. Not that it's that damn important, because nobody watches me, so it's not like there's people wanting to know how I'm doing. But I feel that it's important to mention that I don't feel great today. I ain't had a bad day. I just don't feel great. Wasn't really able to eat my dinner. I was kind of looking at it and just going, nah. I think some banana pudding I had earlier just kind of has me a little messed up. Or could just be, hey, sometimes I just don't feel well. I'm around these germ factories that go to school all the time. So, yesterday I missed out on seeing a kangaroo, like actually touching a fucking kangaroo. Now, anybody who really knows me knows that there's a camel near me, and I get really excited about Humphrey. Okay? Now, this is an animal that I can't touch. I see my friend was at this Fall Fest thing a town over, and he's holding a fucking kangaroo. I'm like, fuck. I don't even think we got kangaroos at the zoo here in Arkansas. I'm pretty sure they got them up in Memphis, but I don't remember because when we went to Memphis, that was just such a big freaking zoo, and it was hot. And we actually watched the polar bear more than anything, and then the pandas, of course. The pandas were cool. Memphis Zoo is freaking awesome, but the penguin exhibit was down when we went. This was a long time ago. Because heck, even the last time I went to the Little Rock Zoo, it's been quite a long time. My 14-year-old was 3 or 4, so that's a long time ago. Um, but shit, I could have seen a real kangaroo. I could have touched a kangaroo. That to me is like, that's like getting told you just won like a $10,000 lottery. It's like, really? Really? Cool. I don't know what to do with myself. Of course, if I would have went, I probably wouldn't have actually gotten close to the kangaroo, because my friend that took his picture with the kangaroo is more outgoing than me, so he probably asked if he could. And I wouldn't have asked. I would have stood back and just been like watching, because that's what I do. I watch. Done some writing today. Actually I spent like a couple of hours on it. If that. Because I had little distractions here and there pop up, phone calls, emails, life. But other than that, I was working on this story that part of me wants to keep working on it, and that's that part of me that gets too into shit, and I don't need to feed that right now. So I I put a tentative ending at the end of it, that leaves room for there can be like a whole other story. Like this could be the prologue of a story. Of course, it's like almost 15,000 characters, so yeah, it's already big enough. That's a pretty big prologue, I think. Of course, I don't know. Once, it's funny how you'll see something and you don't realize how short it is until you see it typed up on actual paper, and then you're like, wow, I worked a long time and I've got barely a page. I should make the writing bigger, you know. I don't think I can write something that can be published. I just don't. I would have to have a co-writer, somebody to come through and add details. Like I have the creative flair to do certain things, to come up with an idea, to come up with dialogue. But and now I've learned how to do like a bit of erotica to it, to add that element to it if I want to. But details kind of escape me, because like I can see things and it's really hard for me to describe certain things, really. When I see somebody describing them, it's like asking me to describe my anger. It's kind of like, well, how, I know the feeling, I know what I feel, but putting that into words and being distinct, like my brain works better on metaphors than actual descriptions. So if I was describing somebody to the police, I would probably describe them as, well, he's like if Eddie Murphy and Johnny Depp had a love child. Try figuring that one out, because in my head that one doesn't. But still, you know what I'm saying, that all of you that don't watch me, I'm saying that to me, I'm more likely to say that, to compare two people and say, he looked kind of like this person, to give visual so people can go, oh, okay. I guess the better thing would be to just say he looked like Johnny Depp in this movie, because Johnny Depp's always so different, and I've met people over the years that could pass for his different characters. But, I'm more likely to describe things in metaphors, and sometimes my metaphors only make sense in my head. Like, to me, I get the metaphor, but other people I have to explain it to, which I don't mind doing. But a lot of times it goes over their heads, because people will sit there and go, well, I didn't want to look stupid. And I'm like, you don't realize that I recognize that what I say, what I write, doesn't always translate from brain to that. So what I see and what I write, some stuff can get lost in that journey. So I don't look at somebody like they're stupid when they don't get a metaphor that I use, or understand what I'm talking about. I don't mind explaining myself, because I'd rather they get my idea. Because if they get my idea, the beautiful thing about saying, hey, I don't understand you, the beautiful thing about that is that requires me to, when I explain it, that person has a better definition of describing what I'm talking about. And that's what I have to have. I can put a dramatic flair on something. I can make something poetic. I can make something sound nice. What I am not good at is describing things in a way to where people can picture it in their mind. And that's ultimately, if I was going to write a book to publish and everything, I want people to not only see it in their head, I want them to feel the words, and that's what I would want to, I want to convey the feeling of a piece. But I also have to convey a storyline for those people who don't see it the way I do. So somebody who's reading it, if they don't catch the artistic lean of the writing itself, they at least know the story. That's the way I want things to be perceived. But anyway, that's probably a really boring subject, the contents of my mind. Like I said, things don't always come out as I see them. I'll say something and it's kind of like my own language, or like Miss Swan from Mad TV. She say, he look like a man, And that's kind of how my brain works. In my head, I see it, but when it comes to speaking it, it doesn't come out as clear. It's horrible. Last night I finished my story. It was a story. What was it the girl who broke the porcelain mask? It's just a little story. It's just a little nothing piece. I always say that about my work. Even if somebody says, "Hey, that was good," I'm like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." It's always crap to me, because when I needed encouragement for things, I didn't get it. I got, "Stop wasting your time. You're never gonna be this. You're never gonna be that." So now, if anybody says anything about, my artistic ability, if I have any, it doesn't feel real to me. I mean, I get this pride that at least one person liked something I wrote. I feel some pride in that. But as far as sharing it with a bunch of people or releasing it out into the world, for some reason, I'm just like, no, I'm just setting myself up for failure. It's just like with this blog I do not check my views. I do check for comments because I will get an email over those and I will answer those if I get them. But I don't worry about views because I don't want to feel bad that nobody watches me. But I also don't want to get full of myself if a bunch of people did. I would rather just keep this as me just talking about whatever the fuck I want to talk about, making kind of a video journal, and hoping that if somebody needs help, they just happen to find a video that helps them, even if it's just that they're like, wow, I've thought that thought. Because there is not a single genuine thought in anybody's head. Anything that you can think, somebody else has thought it before. Now, whether or not they realize that they thought it, whether they put it on paper, whether they changed it on paper, it doesn't matter. There is no original thought. No matter how freaking crazy you go with it, there is no original thought. But what is original is the person who takes the thought, if it's a good thought, and does something good with it. If you can take a thought, like all of these innovators and scientists and stuff who think, I wonder if there's a way I could do this. Yeah, they're not the first person to think of it, but they're the first person who says, I think, to connect two and two and actually do something with that thought. There's nothing wrong with not having an original thought. It's about what you're going to do with it. And if your unoriginal thought is, I should take a gun and go do a bunch of crap, that's a bad idea. Go talk to somebody. Put the gun down, go talk to somebody. The bad ideas that are unoriginal, not good ideas. You gotta look at history and say, okay, this didn't work out so well for them. Never works out well. Shooting yourself in the head doesn't work well because you're dead or you're disabled for the rest of your life. There's always the chance you'll fail and end up more fucked up than you were before. And you're stuck with a reminder of how weak you were or how you let something get to you. You can gain strength. People who survive suicide attempts gain a lot of strength from that. And pretty much every single one of them that I've ever met or watched stories on, they knew the second they pulled the trigger. Fuck. The second that they left the bridge. Fuck. The second that the pills started taking effect. Fuck. Shouldn't have done that. They all have a regret in that last moment before, you know. So all of these people that are dead, they had a split second to think. And what they thought, you can bet your ass, was shit or fuck. Wrong decision, you know. It's because it is a bad decision. Unless you're a pedophile who's hurt a child and is about to go to prison, then by all means, bullet, gun, head. I wouldn't normally condone suicide, but some people, it's like, hey, you know, if you find yourself kidnapping a kid and you're about to touch them, period. You know, just do the world a favor. If you're about to go shoot up a Walmart or a movie theater, save the world some trouble. I mean, if you are at that point where you're not going to go get help, you're actually going to cause harm to somebody, like it is going to happen and nothing's going to stop you except a bullet, then I condone the bullet. Otherwise, you know, because you're much better off with people missing you and thinking it was so sad that he committed suicide and so on and so forth than what you were going to do. And the shame surrounding, you know, that you harmed people. Anyway, that is so off topic. Not that there was a topic. Anyway, I'm going to go. Today's been a day. As far as mentally goes, I'm doing pretty good. I mean, nothing bad happened. Everything was aligned. Physically, not a great day. But, you know, can't always have sunshine. Gotta have a little rain here and there, inside as well as outside. But I'm still here. I'm not flipping out. I hope that you had a good day, and I hope that you have a good night.